So I'm officially 1 month on T. Um, I started finally after probably 10 years of wanting to. Um, I first really figured out I was trans when I was like 12, and I am turning 23 um, in the next like 2 weeks, which is crazy to me. But um, pandemic was actually kind of a blessing in some ways because Georgia did not used to have telehealth for hormones, and now that's more of an option. I spent a few months kind of deliberating on whether or not I wanted to start after Plume became available in Georgia. Um, but I figured I would just suck it up and get started. So, the very end of February, I had my appointment. I got my prescription literally that day, picked it up the next day, and then did my first injection. Um, I was terrified about that because I have a very intense fear of needles. I do not like them. I've never liked them. Every time I ever have to go in for a shot, I feel like I'm gonna pass out, and the nurse is always worried. Um, but I've been doing the injections myself. I decided to do subcutaneous because the needle is significantly smaller. I still kind of had a panic attack my first shot, not gonna lie, but at least it wasn't like a huge needle that I had to put in my muscles. It's just under a layer of fat. It doesn't hurt. Not that big of a deal. Now that I'm a month in, I can just kind of do it and have a little bit of anxiety, but really not where I thought it was going to be at all. So, of course, getting started, I I get what people say when they tell you to be patient, because it really is easy to do your first shot and then immediately be like, okay, I want everything to change right now. That's not really going to happen, but at the same time, I have noticed, even being in my first month, instant changes where like I felt my skin texture be a little bit different. um, I expected it to get oily because of what people said, and I already have oily skin, so I was like terrified about that. But I actually noticed my skin has not been terribly oily. If anything, it's a little bit drier than it was before. I have had a little bit of acne, but nothing too crazy outside of like if I was on my cycle, I would have similar kinds of acne. Um, my hair texture has changed, which has been really weird. Um, like I had facial hair before T, that I would have to like pluck or shave out. And I've just been kind of leaving it. I've noticed hair is thicker. Like some of it is still really light. Like I have a little mustache, but you can't really see it because it's just blonde. Um, but the hair is like definitely thicker. Like it feels more like beard hair, which has been kind of validating for me. I don't know. I think I like it. Maybe we'll see. See where that goes. One of the first changes I noticed to, besides hair change and skin change, um, my voice immediately got like, I could feel a little bit of like raspiness in my throat. Like it wasn't unbearable, but like something was definitely happening. Um, it's definitely been deepening. I've noticed my voice has been cracking a little bit more recently, which sucks, but at the same time is good because I know that things are actually happening. Um, I have noticed I haven't really had like an increased appetite like people have said either, but I have had more cravings. Like since I've started, I have been craving salty and sour. So, excuse me. Um, I have been eating a lot of pickles and kimchi and fermented foods, because that's pretty much the only thing I'm craving right now. These were things that I already liked, but immediately since starting tea, I had a pickle craving like crazy, which I think is funny because it's usually considered like the trans feminine thing. But yeah, pickles are all I want to eat. um, I've noticed generally, um, emotionally, things have been a little bit different for me than the standard of like what people bring up. People mention having more anger issues since getting tea. I've noticed that's not the case for me at all. If anything, I've been more mellow, probably because I'm less stressed, a little bit less dysphoric. Um, my anxiety has gone down incredibly. Um, I feel more confident, and that was definitely an immediate change for me. Like the people that are around me more often have noticed, my general demeanor going out is like different. um, because even at the very beginning, like no one could tell that I had started tea, but I knew, and that was enough for me. Where it really kind of changed the way that I carried myself, um, which has been nice. Like, who would have thought that having gender affirming care would make me feel better emotionally and like mentally. um like it sounds obvious, but like it really did make a positive change. So yeah, for the first month I feel like a lot has changed, which like I was kind of worried about initially because um starting low dose, I felt like we started that way kind of because I'm non-binary and they wanted to see where I was going to be at with that. Um, part of me was tempted to do like a standard like zero point 0.5. Um, but I'm kind of glad that I started slow because even doing zero point 0.3 every week, I've noticed things are still changing. And my one fear was that nothing was going to happen, and that's obviously not the case. Um, So I'm gonna keep doing my injections every week at zero point 0.3. Eventually, I might be able to go up, talking to my doctor, but low dose kind of seems to be the move for me right now, because my body is processing it extremely well. Like, there have definitely been changes. Um, I mean, obviously, like, tea isn't gonna fix everything for me. Like, I'm still gonna have some level of dysphoria. I'm still going to have anxiety and depression and these things that I already had. But it's made a huge difference in how I've been able to process that and the amount of stress I have as far as, like, my personal gender feelings about my body. Um, I don't know. I just feel a lot better, in a lot of ways. And I'm really glad that after 10 years of wanting to do hormones that I finally just bit the bullet and did it. Um, one thing that I wanted to bring up is, so as a trans person, it has been a long time since I've really considered myself like binary, FTM. Generally, I consider myself transmasculine, non-binary. Um, and passing has not been a concern for me for a really long time because I feel like for me to be valid and for me to be a boy, I really don't have to be masculine. Like, my idea of masculinity is a little bit different, than like the cishet ideal. And I wear a lot of dresses and skirts and wear J fashion that's very pastel, very cutesy. Um, Sometimes I get a little dysphoric about it, but it's really more how other people perceive me than how I personally feel. Like, wearing pastel cutesy stuff makes me happy, so I do it. But I noticed that initially, like, right after starting tea, I got really weird about wanting to pass a little bit, and got really in my head about, like, wanting people to acknowledge that I was a boy. And I think a lot of that was just, like, taking the time and energy and money to be on hormones. I wanted people to notice and validate me immediately. So one thing I want to work on in the future, in the foreseeable future, taking hormones, is just being able to dress how I want, like I do normally. Theoretically, it should be easier because, like, my voice is changing, my facial hair is changing, there are things changing where people are still gonna see me as, like, traditionally masculine, even if I wear, like, a big fluffy skirts and wear pink and all these things that I usually do. It should be even more affirming now to just how I want. But yeah, that's it for me, I think. Yeah, I have just been vibing by myself, experiencing changes, and I can't wait to see what happens.